This episode of Smash Bros. Ultimate is brought to you by Hot Takes, because your opinion is not the same as everyone else's opinion. We're here to play Classic Mode today with none other than Byleth, a heroic legacy indeed. And why is it a heroic legacy? Well, let's just say that after the reveal, Byleth has been not receiving the best amount of shit from anyone, apparently. It's unfortunate to say, because Byleth, their self, does seem like a really interesting character to play as, what with the different weapons they use on the different attacks and what weapons, mentioning the weapons 3 times. But the thing is, the one thing that you can't really shake, holy shit, the parry. You can't really shake is the fact that Byleth is from this series you may not have heard of called Fire Emblem. And the stipulation happens to be that everyone thinks that there's too much Fire Emblem in Smash Bros. That is true. It is the 3rd most represented series, yes, in terms of fighters in the game, behind Pokemon and Mario. And if you count the subgenres of Mario, that brings him to about, I think, 14? Is it 14? Correct me if I'm wrong, editing. So yeah, the thing is that there's too much Fire Emblem and no one really likes it too well. And that's quite unfortunate. The thing is, do you remember when, if you compare the other Fire Emblem characters when they were added to the game, Marth and Roy being first up, they were added in Melee, and everyone was like, who are these? They're cool anyway. And Marth is one of the bigger played characters in Melee, to my knowledge. I think he's decently high on the tier list, I can't be wrong. The only thing I remember is that his grab range is mocked about, and then Roy isn't as cool to be. So that's unfortunate. When it comes to Brawl, I guess Ike was... I can't remember if Ike was brought any acclaim or anything like that. It's just that, hey, Ike is here and it's him being really cool. So that's fine. Nice. Then comes Smash 4 and everyone remembers the response to Lucina being, why is she here? Why is she taking up a character spot for people that would have gotten a character spot, except no, that's not the case. She was an extra character. And then there's also Robin, who's slow. And I think Robin was accepted pretty well. So I think, hey, Robin is cool. Because, Robin has a different moveset to the other Fire Emblem characters. And then comes Chrom in Ultimate. When he was revealed, everyone was kind of cool with that. Because, hey, it's cool, they've established Echo characters. And they are an interesting stipulation to have for these characters. So we can have them be a thing. So maybe if Byleth was an echo of somebody, people might have been fine with that. Although I feel like that's not the case. Because why would they have an echo in the Fighter's Pass, even if they already said, hey, we're not going to add echoes in this Fighter Pass. So that's why. Now, my hot take in this situation is that there's too many Pokemon fighters. I don't mind the amount of Fire Emblem characters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I'm personally not that fond of all the Pokemon fighters. And you can't call me a Gen 1er because I only got to Gen 4. Which may be just as bad, I just don't know yet. Oh yeah, also there was Corrin, I forgot about Corrin. Corrin was met with acclaim. Different fighting style, yes, but is also pretty bland, especially considering that Fates didn't go over too well, which is a bit of a shame. So, the other thing is, well, if you remember, back during the lead up to Ultimate, I did the reaction to the November 1st, 2018 presentation from Sakurai himself. And my thoughts when Incineroar was shown was, I'm really not liking this. But then Incineroar was shown off, which led to Incineroar's moveset being, oh, that's pretty cool, I might want to try that out. So then the game releases, and I tried out Incineroar, and he's actually pretty high up there on characters I like to play as. It's not that I didn't like the character, it's that the moveset of the character was interesting enough for me to start playing. Oh, come on with this. So, what I'm trying to say here is, it's going to be a character anyway. Just, it doesn't matter if the character comes from a certain series. It should matter how the character plays. You could just be sat here like, it's another sword fighter. Except no. Because, Byleth, no. Fucking wins. But, the thing is, Byleth doesn't really use a sword in her main moveset. It's more just tilts and regular attacks. The special moves are the why did I say two? The three different weapons of Three Houses. And I apologize for not getting these correct in the slightest, because I am scum who plays Fire Emblem characters in Smash, but has never touched a Fire Emblem game in his life. So leave that to me. But as we're going on with the topic of hot takes in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, we should just talk about that second fighter pass real quick. And it's dumb, I know. But I'm sorry for all those people that think that Sora would get in. If Sora does get in, you realize that Sora has to answer to not just Square, who has not done too well with Cloud, but they also have to answer to Disney if they want anything significant to be brought in for Sora. So I think Sora has a very low chance of getting into the game. Unfortunately so. So, if you're on the Sora bandwagon, I apologize. But if you are not on the Sora bandwagon, then that's pretty cool. But speaking of bandwagons, I need to say this again because apparently it's just that big of a thing that I don't know if it's still lingering. If you still think Waluigi has a chance of being a fighter in this video game, please stop. Waluigi doesn't have any viable moveset for anything. There's no way he can be in a Smash Bros. At all. And if you point towards Brawl Minus and other mods like that, then I'm just going to say you're not really paying attention to the whole point that I'm trying to make here, which is, it's not even real. It's a fan-made idea of what he could be like, and how accurate is that moveset to him anyway? It's dumb, yes. But going back to the thing I didn't mention though, with Byleth, she's a sword fighter. They're a sword fighter, male and female. Sorry, they're sword fighters, and it's all about how there's too many sword fighters in Super Smash Bros. Whereas my counterpoint is there are just as many, if not more, brawlers in Smash Bros. Than there is sword fighters. So, if you really think about it, why wasn't there any kind of backlash for Terry being added? Terry is just another brawler, right? He doesn't deserve to be in the game. He's just another brawler. We have too many of those, right? Right? How stupid does that sound to you? See, the big thing you want to be asking for are gunfighters, because there's not even that many projectile users in comparison, to be honest. God damn. So, you can take that as you will. That seems to be what it is. And they all exploded. Let's just see. Final round clear. We did it. We beat Mouse Hand and Crazy Hand. Give myself some time to think over these credits. So, you know, skipping them as always. now that we're done with the credit sequence, let's just talk a little bit about the Fighter Pass as well. And the thing that I want to mention is that, I've reached the limit for certain rewards, is that people have started leaking what the 6th fighter is going to be in a Fighter Pass number 2. Why? Is there a need to do that? Perhaps it's just like, you know, oh, I didn't want to have Byleth be the thing we end the thing on, so let's just get our hopes up with this next one. Did you just not realize the fact that we didn't know what the first fighter was going to be? We didn't know that Joker was going to be the first person in the Fighter Pass when it was announced. Did we need to leak what was going on? No, because no one saw it coming. Pardon the joke. You don't need to leak anything like that, because why is there any need to do something like that? It's stupid. I know. Here we go. Perfect! Sorry about that. 4 for 8. Pretty good. Good thing I got it on this stage right now. Another thing, just to be sure, it's a safe assumption that everyone going in thought, hey, everything in the Fighter Pass is going to be new universe. Because we had the early bonus of Piranha Plant, which I'm surprised to think isn't a part of the base game at this point, because Piranha Plant's just been there the whole time. But then the first DLC fighter was Joker, then it was Hero, then it was Banjo, then it was Terry. It was reason to assume there would be all new universes, and I've said multiple times, it's probably going to be all new universes, which is fine. However, we didn't expect it was going to be Byleth as the first party anyway. So, the thing is, Reggie said, initially, when he was talking in the Game Awards after Joker was revealed, I believe, which seems like the ideal way to announce it, that... I based the wrong way. That they would be adding brand new fighters to Smash for the DLC. And the thing is, if you think about how Smash 4 handled its DLC, they didn't say brand new fighters, because some of the characters they added in that DLC were veterans, Mewtwo, Lucas, and Roy. The brand new characters were mostly new universe. Ryu, Cloud, and Bayonetta. They were new universes, yes. And then there was also Corrin, who is also a first party. So it's not like they ever said, you know, we're going to have purely, completely new universes for everything involved. Not at all. It's just that they'll be having brand new fighters being added, which means brand new movesets and no returning fighters. So that most likely leads into Echo Fighters as well, not being planned for the DLC, which is fine. But also leads to having new characters with new movesets, which is the whole point of saying those specific things. So good job, Reggie, for not bringing people's hopes up with poor wording. You know, like that guy who said Rayman was in Smash 4 all that time ago. Remember that? I sure did. Another thing about first-party reps I like to mention with Byleth is that they added his music to the other Fire Emblem stages. That's cool. I like that. If there's any more first-party reps that happen, I'm interested to see what other music they would add to those previous stages. It would be fun. It's a cool idea. I like that a lot, which I'm impressed with. Truly. Let's see. One more thing to talk about whilst we do a spirit fight. If we're talking about DLC in the Fighter Pass Volume 2, I honestly would kind of like someone from an FPS to be represented in the game, because we don't really have anyone that's strictly come from an FPS in the game, in the slightest. Because we have characters like Samus, who's probably the closest we have, and also we have our buddy Snake, who's more of like a tactical, you know, sneak around kind of character. It's likely, I don't know, it's just that FPS characters strictly seem to be the one thing that haven't been touched upon yet, which it'd be interesting to see. maybe not Doom Guy per se, but, you know, I mean, people are talking on Twitter like there's no chance of Doom Guy being in the game. Or there was no negotiations put forward. Plus, everything's been decided. Sakurai said everything's been decided, so there's no need to bug him on Twitter. Especially those people that bugged him on Twitter to a certain extent that I will not be mentioning here, because why would I need to mention it? It's a thing you shouldn't be doing anyway. He's making the game for you. He's made all these good decisions. You didn't say these exact things when Joker was revealed, now did you? You didn't want him to be fired because Joker got added to the game, did you? Really, just settle down for a moment and think about what you're actually going to be saying in these instances. And if there's anything that I'm missing from all these continued hot takes in this one video, which I feel has been a long rant at this point, please put them up here, Redditor. Thank you very much. I hope you've had time to read all that, because that is all for this episode of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch. I gotta go back home to play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on my Nintendo Switch. I know I did promise that the next thing you'd be seeing would be Custom Smash Bros. Super Sudden Death. They will be short videos. However, I have acquired all of the amiibo, finally, for this game, currently released, all the way up to all the veteran fighters, plus all the newcomers that came to Smash Ultimate. The only thing that's left is the DLC, which hasn't been shown off or announced yet, and when they will be up, they will be up. So, the next thing to do, which you'll be seeing very shortly, is the tournament, the second amiibo tournament, which I will be using Final Smash Meter rules for this one, because we should show off the Final Smash Meter even a little bit, even if we have seen it a lot of times in Spirit mode. Just show off the Final Smash Meter a little bit. So, that is it for Super Smash Bros. For today. I hope you stuck with me and listening to my opinions. It's dumb, I know, but it's always important and always good to hear someone else's opinion. That's what the internet exists for. So, see you in the Amiibo Tournament number 2. Goodbye, God bless, take care, and have a frivolities.